A historic day for those fighting for same-sex marriage. Today, a federal judge blocked the ban here in the Cornhusker state. We have team coverage this midday. Let's start off with KMTV Action 3 News reporter Josh Egbert. He joins us live with the latest.
Well, Joseph Battalion struck down the state's same-sex marriage ban, paving the way for gay couples to marry. But those couples won't be racing down to the courthouse anytime soon because that ruling doesn't go into effect until Monday, March 9th. Now, in that ruling, Judge Battalion said that all relevant state officials are ordered to treat same-sex couples the same as different-sex couples in the context of processing a marriage license or determining the rights, protections, obligations, or benefits of marriage.
Day in Nebraska, same-sex couples will soon be able to get married. This morning, a federal judge struck down the ban that stopped the marriages. KMTV Action 3 News reporter Josh Egbert is live in Lincoln with more details on today's ruling. Josh?
Well, Jen, this is the issue from Judge Joseph Battalion. In it, he says that all couples have the right to marry regardless of gender, but not everyone agrees. Shortly after this was released, the Attorney General's office here in Lincoln filed their appeal.
The ruling itself means that the state of Nebraska has to allow same-sex couples to marry in Nebraska.
The right to marry, that's the ruling from Judge Joseph Battalion as he strikes down Nebraska's ban on same-sex marriage.
Judge Battalion stayed this order until next Monday, the 9th, to give the state a chance to adjust to the ruling, get procedures in place.
Michael Fenner is a professor of constitutional law at Creighton University. He says while this does appear to be a victory for same-sex couples, they won't be running down to the courthouse.
The practical effect is it gives them a week to take it to the 8th Circuit. It gives the state a week to take it to the 8th Circuit and try to get them to stay the ruling.
As promised, Attorney General Doug Peterson filed an appeal with the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals asking the court to issue a stay on the ruling.
The reason we are appealing is because the 8th Circuit has ruled once before that this constitutional amendment is constitutional and upholds the scrutiny of the constitutional analysis.
Power. To some, it sounds menacing, but each day operators of the plant just a few miles north of Omaha oversee the process of making electricity. Tonight, reporter Josh Egbert has incredible access to the Fort Calhoun power station.
Turning on your lights or even watching KMTV, the power to generate that comes from here, the Fort Calhoun nuclear power plant. KMTV was the first television station granted rare access inside this facility as they prepare to refuel this nuclear plant.
So there's 176 of those in one fuel assembly.
They are 12-foot tall zirconium alloy rods, and they make Omaha light up.
Inside those pins is 223 uranium pellets. Those pellets are what actually fission to make the power, to make the heat, which turns our turbine to make the electricity.
Every year and a half, OPPD shuts down Fort Calhoun to replace its nuclear fuel.
Right now, he's checking the bottom of the assembly and the feet. That's an inspection tool to make sure that the bottom of the assembly sits properly when it's inside of the core.
For the very first time, OPPD invited our cameras inside the plant to show us how it works in its most sensitive operations. Tim Bussey, a nuclear engineer at Fort Calhoun, showed us around.
We're looking for any defects or anything like that in the fuel so that when it goes into the core to operate for another year and a half, that it operates without any issues.
Distracted driving is a deadly problem, and it's getting worse. KMTV Action 3 News reporter Josh Egbert cuts through the numbers.
They make up the highest crash rate of any age group. Cell phones and passengers, a big problem when it comes to teen crashes. A new study reveals just how big of a problem these are. This teen driver looks down at his cell phone for just a few seconds and ends up in the ditch.
I needed to get my phone a long time ago.
This driver, distracted by talking to her passenger.
Oh!
All caught on dashboard cameras. It's part of a study released this morning by the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety.
Looking at these statistics, I don't think they get it. I really don't think they get it.
The study analyzed 1,700 videos that show the moments before a crash.
He gained fame playing home games at the CenturyLink Center, but a former Creighton star will make a pro appearance in Nebraska at another arena. It's a slam dunk for Lincoln, but just the latest in the fight for your concert and sporting event dollars. Good evening. I'm Jennifer Griswold.
And I'm Craig DeGrelli. The Pinnacle Bank Arena won this round, and there are likely more battles ahead. KMTV Action 3 News reporter Josh Egbert spent the day in both Omaha and Lincoln, and he's live from the CenturyLink Center tonight. Josh.
Yeah, Craig, this is where the Creighton Blue Jays call home, where Doug McDermott wowed the crowds. Well, this fall, Doug is coming home, but he won't be wowing the crowds here at CenturyLink. He's one of the most famous Jays to come out of Omaha. He led the nation in scoring his senior year. Now, Chicago Bull Doug McDermott is coming home. Well, sort of. Good evening. Thanks for joining GTN News tonight. I'm Josh Egbert. Dozens of Alachua County kids are left without mentors tonight after a local nonprofit closes its doors. After nearly 50 years, the local chapter of Big Brothers Big Sisters is no longer operating. GTN's Angie Andrews got an inside look in the closed nonprofit and has more on what's forcing it to close in tonight's big story. The man charged with murdering 3 people at a Planned Parenthood in Colorado confessed in court today. Rick Salinger reports from Colorado Springs.
Declaring himself a warrior for babies, Robert Deere shouted out he's guilty and there would be no trial. One of many outbursts in the courtroom.
Millions of Americans call 911 each year, but people don't often think about what happens when they dial those 3 numbers. GTN's Marissa Sarbach speaks with 911 operators at the Alachua County Communications Center to learn more about what they do in our special report tonight.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
Man, woman, and 1-year-old are recovering tonight after being attacked by a pack of dogs in Levy County. The attack happened yesterday afternoon. Officials say Kayla Most and Arthur Tyson were waiting for the school bus with the 1-year-old. Most was babysitting. That's when the 3 dogs attacked them. One of the dogs got a hold of the child and started shaking it. All 3 were taken to the hospital for treatment. Levy County says the dog's owner, Laura Trasher, was cited but won't face criminal charges. Face criminal charges. Face criminal charges. Face criminal charges. Face